The stunning 3D illustrations in the Project X series are created by the illustrator John Stuart in his Brighton studio. John uses cutting-edge computer technology to build the Project X characters and their virtual world.
What's so exciting for me working on Project X is creating a whole three-dimensional world which the characters can move around in, and we can render out images and create wonderful stories. Here we have the ant character, which is one of the main characters in Project X. It's completely created in 3D space. We can rotate around the character to show you the whole back and sides. The main skin of the character is a wireframe mesh, and underlying that wireframe mesh is a skeleton structure, which we see here, which drives the mesh, and so that we can create different poses for it. As we move the skeleton, you'll see that the overlying skin also moves. So as we see here. Have a whole bank of poses here, which we can paste onto that skeleton. We have a pointing pose here. Allows us to store those poses and reuse them at any time, and also put them onto a different character if needed. We can have a sitting pose, which we've created. So he's sitting down. And here's a startled pose. So here. And this allows us to put each character into the story, into the illustration, and allows us to create each image. This is how we do the expressions for the characters. We've got the main character Max here. We zoom in on the face, bring up the expression control board. Here we've got nice jaw control, so we can open and close the mouth. Also got eyebrow controls. We can make the character angry or surprised. And using these we can really create a lot of different expressions here. Also got very specific expressions. Over on the left here we can got smile, or we can have the character looking upset, or we can have him looking cheeky or confused. Also got eye controls. So if I grab this helper object here, as I move this about, the eyes follow my mouse movements. This allows us to have the character looking wherever we want. Also got additional controls here, which allow us to the character, if need be, to go cross-eyed. Once the characters have been generated, we put them into sets. And what we've got here is one of the sets for a year 5 and 6 book. It's the control room. As you see, it's like a virtual film set. Every object in the scene has been modelled in 3D. So we've got sort of doors, control screens, everything that we need for the story to happen. And the characters can be put into this set and they can interact, and we can create images from that for the actual illustrations. We do that by having virtual lights, which I'm just going to click on one here, which we can adjust just like in the real world. We can make it brighter or very dim. So what we're going to do now is bring in one of the characters. So we're going to bring in Max. Here he is. We're going to pose him just like that. We're going to get the sort of image we want to get. I'm going to press the render button, and the software is going to generate an image from this using all the light that we've lit the scene with, and this viewport is going to create a flat image. So if I press that now, here we have an image generated from the virtual set, which is then used for the illustrations in the books. What makes Project X so exciting, especially for boys, are the gadgets, and we've got some of these here. These are the watches, which are used by the children. They've got different functionalities, but the main one being that they can shrink the characters down to micro level. They do this by turning the dials on the watches, and we're just going to show that here. These are all completely modelled in three-dimensional space, like the other objects in the project. Another feature of Project X are the X-bots. We've got one of those here. This is an X2 bot, and again we can move this around, position it, and to pose this character just like the other characters in the scene. Another of the gadgets that are used in the stories is the micro Buggy, which is created by the children when they're shrunken down. So it's created out of bits of cardboard and Lego, etc. Again, entirely created in 3D. Has various different things we can interact with here. We can move the wheels, and the car can move about in the scene and can be an integral part of the main story.
The techniques that John uses can produce images of breathtaking clarity and realism. This is a room in the house of the Collector, a mysterious character who appears in books for years 5 and 6. Here, John is creating an illustration of one of the tiny X-bots trapped by the Collector inside a snow globe. Here are some more of the superb illustrations from the Project X series.